And welcome to the last day of the Sacred Success Salon. We've had so many amazing conversations and went places that even surprised me. And I am so very grateful for every single guest speaker who has shown up with the gifts. And guess what? We left the best for last. So today, please help me welcome an amazing fairy godmother. I love that so much, Donna Mccallum. Welcome, Donna.
Oh, Anna, it is so wonderful to be here, waving my wand and making a little bit of magic on this fabulous summit.
I love it. So great. I'm all about magic. So let me introduce Donna to you guys. So you know who she is. She is the fairy godmother, but what does it really stand for? Well, she is a coach, a guide, and has been helping shift people around the world into their fullest potential through her workshops, retreats, and online programs. And I just love the broad spectrum that you have brought, Donna, into your work just by bringing in the magic. Like when you say fairy godmother, right away, my whole body gets excited because that just means anything is possible.
Exactly. Your dreams can come true. Anything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
And and I've been so blessed, Anna, to be able to do this work since 2005.
Wow.
You know, I had an amazing epiphany in a night bus in Argentina when I was 29 years old, that my purpose was to be a fairy godmother. And that was in 2005. And at the time I was on a sabbatical and traveling around, and I came back to my life here in South Africa. I'm based in South Africa. And, you know, people in my life were saying, well, what are you going to do now? And I said, I'm going to be a fairy godmother. And people said, what do you mean? And I said, no, I've had this vision. I've had this vision while I was traveling that I'm meant to be a fairy godmother and help people and support them in living their best, juiciest lives and making their dreams come true. And so many of my friends thought I was absolutely crazy. They were like, well, how are you going to do that? And how are you going to make money doing that? And in 2005, it was way before people had started becoming coaches or doing online programs or any of that kind of stuff. And I was incredibly blessed to just jump into it, gutsy, daring. I'm going for this, my own dreams, and started running workshops on live workshops and seminars around South Africa, and then very quickly into the UK, and then Germany, and then the US, all around dreams and goals and vision and how to make it happen and how to manifest it. And then that translated by 2009, I was running online programs and then starting to have clients around the world. And so blessed that, you know, my work has touched 17,000 people as students. Just what an amazing, miraculous time we live in.
Right? Amazing. So what I love about what you just shared is that way back when even saying I'm going to be a fairy godmother, it is more feasible right now because we have expanded, you know, our capacity to believe that anything is possible. But back then it's to say, I'm going to be a fairy godmother. So to everybody right now, you watching who's saying, I don't know how I can ever make this into a business. Well, guess what? Donna became a fairy godmother in 2005. So I love this so much. So great.
Yeah. And my friends, my colleagues, people in my life thought I was crazy. They were saying to me, like, how are you going to make money doing that? What do you mean? People aren't going to take you seriously. In fact, for a long time, I wore these magnificent wings and waved my wand. And then the next thing, I was being invited into these massive corporations, speaking to thousands of people, being interviewed on television and radio. And people in my life suddenly said, wow, it's working. How did you do that? And that's one of the things when you're following your purpose, when you're following your big dreams and goals, and is that you are pulled into it with a kind of life force energy that helps you overcome your fears, that gets you through all of those challenges, that gets you through the naysayers. But the big thing is to keep reconnecting to the vision and keep reconnecting to the vision and keep reconnecting to the vision. And when you find that you're wavering, because you will be, and there are times where you want to give up. I mean, it took a good 5 years until 2010, 2011, before I was in a space where I was like, I'm never giving this up. But in those first 5 years, there were times when I was like, really? What? even though I've been a best, I got a massive book deal with Random House, and I wrote a book, and all of these things happened, but still you hit these obstacles and these challenges, but you've just got to keep connecting into the vision, keep connecting to the vision. The right teachers, the right resources, the right opportunities will come.
Yeah. So great. Yeah. And you just get to keep moving through it. So when we first started our conversation, you and I, right before we hit the record button, we were talking about how there is, so in the salon, let me just say it this way. In the salon, we introduced you, the viewer, into so many new ways of looking at where we're going and moving through whatever is in your way and really stepping into your purpose. And Donna and I, we started a conversation and said, the work is never done, right? So right now, after these amazing conversations, you may have taken steps. Maybe you've taken steps before. Maybe you've gotten out there and you said, okay, this is my purpose. I'm going to do it. And you hit the block. So Donna said, yeah, because the work never stops. So I love what you were just saying when we started and then we clicked the record button. And I want to bring that into the conversation here for all of our viewers right now in the salon, that this realization, right, that you may be doing all the right things, you may be aligned, and bam, something happens and you hit a block and you get to keep moving forward through it. So can we talk deeper about it?
Yeah. And I see that in the transition of my own work. Mm-hmm. So I started teaching people about dreams and goals and manifesting and how to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I have a deep curiosity and I have a deep, real wanting for my students to have like massive success and great results. Yeah. And so what I found was people would attend my workshops and some people would just be like, psh, and things would happen. And then other people would be like, stop, start. And I kept going kind of deeper and deeper and deeper. And one of the things that I found with dreams and goals is like that alignment, as you mentioned, your body, soul, mind, soul alignment is just key. And I'm sure that you've spoken about that with many of your other speakers on this summit. And then as that was happening, suddenly a whole lot of my students were bubbling up and saying, oh, but what about the money? Like, yeah, it'd be really lovely to live my dreams and goals, but what about the money?
Yeah.
And I suddenly realized so many of my students had money blocks, and I uncovered a whole lot of my own money blocks as I started doing my own spiritual work. Previously, I had been in corporate life. I had run my own business. I'd run a big marketing and advertising business. I had done incredibly well. But I realized coming into being a fairy godmother, as soon as I started doing my spiritual and my purpose work, I hit up against the money block, which was you can be spiritual or wealthy, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the work was going amazingly. I had a book deal. I was publishing books. I was doing workshops around the world. All of these things were happening and the money wasn't working out. And I was like, oh, how is this possible? And so I started doing my own work around those blocks, shifted it, unlocked it, and then started realizing how many of my students also had money blocks. So then started into my money work in 2011. And so for over a decade, I've been working with students into their money blocks and then shifting through that. And then how to actually do the practical stuff around finances. So I run a program called Money Magic. I run a program called Financial Flow for Entrepreneurs to really get into great relationship with money. Yeah. And then in my own life, great relationship with, with money, financially independent. I'm almost financially free. Yay. In a decade, almost financially free. And 2018, something happened in the country that I live in the city that I live in. Yeah. That kicked in my scarcity like I have never experienced before. So what happened was I live in a city called Cape Town, right at the tip of the edge of Africa, for those of you who are not sure of your geography, and on the coast. And in 2018, it looked like our city would be the first city in the world to run out of water. We were in a massive drought. They put in severe water restrictions, but still it looked like we were about to run out. And no rain was coming. No rain was set to come for a few months. And so in the media, they did this massive campaign called Day Zero. and they started counting down the days
Oh my God.
until the water would run out.
Mm.
And there were 125 days until the water ran out. So that's like 4 months. This is the beginning of January.
Yeah.
And I kept hearing this and seeing this, it's impossible to miss. I try to stay away from media as much as possible, but when that kind of thing is going on, we were allowed 30-second showers. We were being charged the roof if you used over water allocation. It was crazy. And people were like really stressed out about it. And when you're in a collective consciousness that's stressed out,
yes.
and we've seen this through COVID, right, as well.
Yes.
It is really something to keep bringing yourself back into alignment, to keep bringing yourself back into and using the tools to keep yourself in a centered space. And I didn't realize how much this day zero, the water was running out, was like really hitting me at a pure survival scarcity level. Until suddenly lots of other things in my life started to go wrong. It was like business slowed down. I had to move out of the beautiful home that I lived in, found another home. It wasn't quite as nice. All of these weird things started to happen. And I'm so blessed that through this work over the last 15 years, I keep building awareness. And this is what we find on our spiritual journeys. As we go, we build more and more awareness. And about 6 months into this spiral, I suddenly realized, oh my goodness, I'm in deep scarcity. Even though I teach about dreams and goals coming true, even though I teach about money, even though I continuously shift through my money blocks, even though I'm a multimillionaire, I'm in deep scarcity. What is this? And in that year, in September, I went off to Portugal. I was running one of my 1-week retreats in Portugal. And as I was there, I was doing a breathwork session with my students. And in the middle, I'm so blessed. And I know that you experience this too, Anna, that like when you're in your purpose work and your prosperity work, like you get so divinely guided. You were talking about, before we started, you were talking about, oh, I've got goosebumps, I've got tingles. And like, it's so that like life will send you divine guidance. You just have to stop, be silent, listen. So I was on this retreat in Portugal. We're doing this breathwork session. All my students were doing this deep breathing, amazing. And I get this boom, like clear download. You have to do a program. It's called the 7 Levels of Abundance. You use the chakras as a real diagnostic tool to unlock scarcity scars that are sitting in people's energy systems, right? Your scarcity scar, Donna, is not sitting at a level, it's really sitting in root chakra level, at that level of survival and safety, and that's what's going on. And how do you shift that for yourself? Use the tools you've got. So I came out of that Portugal retreat, I was on fire, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so that's when I go into creation mode with programs, when I get that divine guidance. And in 2019, I ran my 7 Levels of Abundance program for the first time. It's a 7-month program. It's a 7-month program so that it's spacious and abundant, and you've got time, and it's not like module, overwhelm. And literally using the 7 chakras and the tools around each of the chakras for diagnosing where are your scarcity blocks.
So great.
And how to shift through them, and how to bring in more balance, equilibrium, and life force energy into those areas so that you can shift through them with more and more ease. And the toolkit that it's added to my life, the toolkit that it's added to, over 120 students that have already now been through the program has just been gobsmacking for me.
I love what you just shared, Donna, because we are in the United States. A lot of people who are watching are all over the world. You guys are all over the world. And the pandemic has hit the whole entire world, right? So, and now we're coming out, but not really. right? Like, I'm like, we're not coming out, we're stepping out into a different world. But I love that you brought in this idea that the environment you are in has triggered some deep-seated scarcity beliefs that you would have otherwise not found. And in my view, in my worldview, that's exactly what's happening in the world right now, right? On a global stage. So it was happening in your town. And I remember that from the news, I didn't know they were running like countdown to talk about, triggering fear, countdown to day 0. Hello, right? But that's where we are right now, like literally globally, right? With this whole pandemic, with what it's reshaping, like that's where we are right now. Our environment is triggering us and all the places where we've been hiding our fear, hiding our blocks, hiding our scarcity, I have an accent too, hiding our scarcity, right? And all of a sudden, no matter how much work we do on a consistent basis, our environment is going to be dictating some things, awakening some things that may have been hidden. So you guys who are watching these interviews on a regular basis, few of the interviews are recorded in my parents' house. I'm in my parents' house right now. And there is to me, no better place to see my buttons, triggers, and hidden beliefs than to be around my family, right? Like everything I work through, right? Everything I work through from my communist upbringing, growing up in Poland when they're like literally everything was restricted. Whenever I'm around my parents, they haven't shifted much. We live in America now. We've lived here for 3 decades, but they haven't shifted much. I'm the one doing all the work. So whenever I'm here, it's like energetically I'm back in that space. So I love what you just shared, and I'm saying all this because what you shared is so apropos to where we are. Like it's so appropriate to where we are as humanity, and the environment is dictating a lot of the ways that they want us to think, right? The system. It is our work to go deeper and like get crystal clear where in your, and I love the system of chakras, right? Because you can literally get into the parts of you, right?
Yeah.
That are holding some things that you might have not. And I love that you also shared, this is really key. And I know you guys watching right now, you're the one who's watching, you know this, but take it on at a deeper level. You may be doing all the same things you've been doing, getting certain results, and then something will change in your environment. You won't even know what it is, maybe. And bam, it's taking you off track. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the journey of life, that's the journey of life, is to keep opening to more life, to keep opening to your own abundance. And for me, the experience of abundance is how much life force energy can flow through you. And then how does that express out? How does that express out in your health, your energy, vitality? How does that express out in your pleasure? How does that express out in your pain and your ability to hold pain? How does that express out in your power and your action taking in the world and your effortless productivity? How does that translate into your connection and relationships and compassion and kindness? How does that translate out into your expression and contribution? How does that translate out into your intuition and connection to the divine and bringing in more and more of the divine? Goodness knows we need more and more of the divine in this world at the moment. And how does it translate to, really opening to divine wisdom and divine knowledge? So, those are all the chakras. And as you connect and grow your ability to hold the energy, just more abundance. So people, when they hear abundance, they think, it's more money, it's more everything. It's more life force energy just expressing through you and like loving life.
Yeah. And we so need it right now because that's not where most people, that's not where they're going, right? Most people are going into the fear of what's going to happen. There is some joy because the masks are coming off, at least in the United States, state by state, the masks are coming off, right? And at the same time, I know, and I know, I don't know where you stand with that, but many of our guests are sensing and knowing that we are in the evolutionary time. This is just the beginning of what's going to be happening, right? Yeah.
We're completely in an evolutionary time. And just, because we're talking chakras, and since doing the 7 levels of the abundance program and facilitating it for 2 years, I've been just seeing the world through chakras.
I love it.
So, and through the lens of chakras. And when when coronavirus hit, I had just had my baby boy. I am 44, and he was the manifestation through my first 7 levels of abundance program that I ran. We conceived during sacral chakra months.
Wow.
because I had cleared my root chakra stuff. I got grounded, I got earthed, because I had been so up in my head and in spiritual divine woo-woo. I had to get grounded.
Yeah.
And so I had given birth to my little boy. We went straight, like a week before lockdown, went straight into lockdown. And then I started looking at the world thinking, this is crazy. But from a root chakra perspective, like from a chakra perspective, straight in at the root chakra, like survival, safety, we're not safe, it's a pandemic, oh my goodness. So straight there.
Yeah.
And the other thing that was fascinating for me is it's called the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Corona means crown.
Yeah.
So we got hit right at the crown and right at the root.
Wow. Yes, we did, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Absolutely. Right at the crown and right at the roots. And the guidance for me was, how do we bring this crown energy down? How do we bring the root energy up? And how do we meet in the heart? Because that's the evolution that we're going through at the moment. We have been in a solar plexus, like collective consciousness has been in a solar plexus, action-orientated, productive world, success, power, all of that. And we're seeing that power plays, productivity, how work works, how all of that is what is, I don't want to say crumbling, because I don't think it is. I think it's morphing and evolving and shifting because we're moving into heart energy. That's what's being called for at the moment. Yeah. How do we move into compassion, connection, kindness, gentleness? How do we move into self-forgiveness, forgiveness of others? How do we take those polarities that we're seeing around the world? You're seeing them in the US, we're seeing them in our country. Like those polarities are crazy right now. How do we take those polarities that are in our sacral chakra and also third eye and bring them into integration in a heart space? That's what's being called for.
Wow, amazing. So how do you, and I know we're coming close to our time, which is always, I'm like, oh my God, we just got to a really good place. Could you give us some way that you yourself, or the way you guide your clients to get deeper into your heart, something that you do on a regular basis as you serve, as you create, as you keep opening up more to what's available, right? And recognizing where else is that you keep expanding, that you can get expanded to. What is something simple that we can do even right now?
I want to do it with you right now, but I want to take you a little step away. I'm going to bring you into heart, but I want to take you a little step away, because one of my deepest concerns at the moment, and we've just spoken about it, is how polarized things are getting. Yeah. You know, so whether it's economically, whether it's racially, whether it's politically, whether it is vaccine, no vaccine, what like all of that, right? I mean, it is tearing families apart. It's tearing relationships apart. It's like, what? So I want to give you a way with working with whatever polarity is jarring for you, because there's something that you are like, you're pro something, and people that are anti something are like really pissing you off or triggering you. Here's a way to work with the polarity and bring it into heart space, and then expand in heart space.
Oh, I love it. Let's go.
Yeah. Ready for the exercise? Okay. It's a closed eye exercise.
Okay.
Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Gently close your eyes. Allow your top eyelids just gently rest on your bottom eyelids. And now make sure that your hands are resting on your knees, palm facing up. And you're just going to breathe gently. And as you notice your breath, you're going to allow your breath to get deeper and longer and rounder and fuller. And now I invite you to consider the polarity that you are working with. And whatever that polarity is, what is the one thing and what is the other thing? And so, Anna, for you, what is the one thing and what is the other thing that you wanting to work with?
What's coming in right now, it's just coming very clearly. So it's maybe for me, I'll do it for me and collective, is having and not having, the idea of having and not having.
Okay, great. So for Anna and the collective, it's having and not having. For someone else, it might be selfishness or selflessness. It might be abundance or scarcity. It might be whatever the polarity is that you're holding. And now I invite you to imagine that in your palm of your right hand, you are holding the energy of one of those polarities. So in your right hand, Anna, you're holding the energy of having.
Got it.
And I invite you to notice, what does that feel like? What do you imagine when you hold the energy of that polarity in your right hand? What do you notice? Are there any images, any thoughts? Just noticing how that polarity feels in your hand. And now I invite you to bring your awareness to the palm of your left hand. And I invite you to imagine that the other polarity is sitting in the palm of your left hand. So you're not having, Anna, is sitting in the palm of your left hand. And again, I invite you to notice how does that feel? Are there any images, colors, sensations that come up for you? Any thoughts? Really notice how it feels to have that energy of that polarity in your left hand. And now, I invite you to feel the energy of both those polarities, one sitting in your right hand and one sitting in your left hand. And I invite you to bring the energy of the polarity in your right hand, that energy of having for you, Anna. Move that up your right arm and feel it moving up your right arm, through your forearm, your elbows, and right up into your shoulders. And now feel the energy of the polarity in your left hand moving up through your left arm, the energy of not having moving up through your forearm, your elbows, your upper arm, your shoulders. And now notice as those energies, the energy of having and not having, the right polarity and the left polarity, move together through into your heart area, into your chest area, and start to merge and integrate and dance together in that area. And notice how that feels. Notice any sensations, images, thoughts. As these two polarities integrate in your heart space and find balance, centeredness, and equilibrium. And now I'm going to count slowly back from 10 to 1. And as I do, you'll find your energy returning back into the room. And you'll feel light and bright and energized. And be ready to share what you've just experienced. 10, 9, 8, becoming slowly conscious. 7, 6, 5, aware of your breath, aware of your body. 4, 3, wiggling your fingers. 2 and 1, blink your eyes together and open them. And now you might want to have a big stretch up and a big yawn. Welcome back. How was that for you?
Oh, it was so great. So I'm going to share, and what I would love for you who is watching right now to do is, we have amazing Facebook group. Come into the Facebook group, look for the picture with Donna for the day, for today, and then share what you got. Because I know I would love to hear. I'm sure Donna would love to hear too what you got. Right?
I would love to hear. I'd love to hear what polarity you were working with, because I am deeply working with integrating polarities at the moment in my own life with my students. I think that's what the world needs so much at the moment.
Yeah.
And heart space is the place where polarity integrates. From a chakra perspective, that's where polarity transmutes and integrates and comes back into center, and where we can then just transmute it into love. And that's what's being called for. So I'd love to know what polarity you were working with and what the experience was. But now I want to know your experience.
I love it. Yeah, for sure. So what I had was in my right hand, where the have was, it was a squishy ball, like one of those like stress balls, like very squishy and soft, and just, I could like feel it in my hand. And in my left hand, the not have was a piece, and it kept going between a sharp piece of glass and a sharp piece of metal. So whatever it was hard and very like sharp edges. And when they came together, this hard piece, whatever it was, all of a sudden in my heart, when it merged together with a squishy ball, they actually became like a dancing couple. So this hard piece of whatever it was, glass or metal, because it kept going back, it became very like soft and just, you could mold it with your hands, and it just danced with a squishy ball. So they came together that way. It was really beautiful to experience. So awesome. Yeah. Thank you for that, Donna.
Yeah. It's a pleasure. And it's such a great exercise to do. Let me tell you, you're not just shifting it for yourself, you are shifting it collectively. Yeah. And we need polarities to come back into center and back into balance, because that's what's being called for right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I so agree with that deeply. So thank you for bringing that. Such an amazing exercise as we wrap up the work we've done. Whatever polarities came up for you guys, look and see how they were connected to the conversations that you've had in the salon, the things that came up for you. I think it would be really fascinating. I cannot wait to read. So Donna, I know you have a gift, and I don't even know what it is yet because it's a surprise. Donna said, let's see what comes through the conversation. And based on that, I will give something special. So there is a button below this video. By now, when you're watching, we had a time to adjust it. But could you please tell us and tell me what it is that they can expect, our viewers can expect behind the button?
Okay, so I have got a wonderful 7 Levels of Abundance ebook that your viewers can download, go through the chakras, see what the scarcity illusions are, see what the scarcity blocks are, see more about how to work with it and shift it. And in there, I know that this interview is going live on the 25th of May. And I am doing a free masterclass on the 25th of May. So in there will also be a link to a recording where you can either, or you can either, if you get in on time, join me on the free masterclass, or you can go and watch the recording of the free masterclass, which will be available for about a week. And you can really experience, I'm doing some more powerful guided visualizations of how to work with the energy.
Oh, that's so great. So literally when we're going live, you are doing it live, right? Like at the same time. And for the whole week, it will be live. So you guys, as you're watching this right now, can go claim Donna's gift, get the ebook, and get in on the masterclass while it's live. Amazing. And so perfectly timed. I love it. So great.
Yay.
So great. Thank you, Donna. Thank you for helping to bring this. I cannot even, this is universe at play, because I could never design it any better than to end these conversations with this beautiful exercise of merging polarities in our hearts. I mean, and everything that you have brought into this conversation. It was just perfect. Thank you. You have no idea how many things you have reflected in your conversation that at some level were spoken to, and you just summarized it in your own way. That's so unique and amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. Thank you for inviting me to be a guest. It's been wonderful.
So great. Thank you. And you guys, will see you at the next step. Make sure you go into Facebook and let us know the polarities you've worked with and what your experience was. I cannot wait to hear. Bye for now.